Hey everybody, Jeremy up here at Cowtown. Today I'd like to give you a little walkthrough on a 20x70 Semi-V Legend SS. Now this particular boat is actually the boss man's boat, but we're using it for the walkthrough. It's got some of the same features as our smaller bass boats, just a little bit more bigger, I guess you could say. It's got your spot to mount your trolling motor up on the front here. It's also got trolling motor wiring, wired up for 12, 24, 36 volt trolling motors. It's also got a trim switch on the front. All the 12 volt is pulled to the front. It also has running lights pre-wired, one on the front and one on the rear corner gusset. Now this is what I figured, like I said, our standard bass boat package. It does have the recessed trolling motor pedal. On the starboard side over there, it does have dry storage in the front deck. What I mean by dry storage is it does have what I would call a kind of a lip around the inside, so water gets in. It's got a drain that goes beneath the subfloor to keep everything, I'll tell you, about 90% dry in there. Now it does have a front aerated live well. This is a huge front live well. This live well is roughly 35 inches long. It's over a foot wide and about 9 inches deep. So a huge upgrade there compared to our 1860 bass boats and our 1752s and things like that. It is insulated, aerated, the whole works. You come back into the boat a little bit farther. This setup does have a port side rod locker. Locking latches. Like I said, it is a dry box, so it does have the drip rail all the way around it on the inside. Over on the starboard side in front of the console, we do have a dry box over there. Huge dry storage. In the rod locker here, it does have rod tubes, so you can keep everything a little bit more organized. It's not just going to be a big bird's nest whenever you got to pull everything out. Now with this being a 20x70, it's got a ton of floor space. Even in a Semi-V, taking away a little bit of the front deck space and a little bit of floor space, it's got a ton just because the boat's so big. It does have two seat bases down on the floor, so we can really get some options there for seating. Now in a boat like this, if you want to go out and go fishing and fish, you know, 3 or 4 people on a boat this size, we can add an optional flipping deck. So it'll come all the way back to this console. It's on hinges on the front. You can take it in or out. So at that point, you can really get a lot of people fishing on top of the boat. And then if you're not going to be using it, take it out, throw it in the garage. You've got your floor space back. Going back to the side console, we do offer this boat in a dual console. Like on majority of our other boats, we do, whenever we order them, we generally do just a single console over on the starboard side. Now this particular boat does have hydraulic steering on it. It's hydraulic tilt helm. So now that kind of goes with our Aerated E-Tech G2 back here. You know, it is a hydraulic steer engine. They aren't all that way. That's another option. Back to like gauge packages on the console. You know, that'll kind of vary depending on the engine you go with. We've got some Aerated here. We've got Mercury's here now. We've got Suzuki's here. So we've got a lot of different options there. You start talking about our 2070s, you're probably going to be in the higher horsepower stuff in the jet application. You know, I'm going to tell you 200 to 300 horsepower is, you know, our most common on these boats. This particular setup does have a 300 on the back of it. So a lot of horsepower on the back of this boat, runs phenomenal. Even as big as this boat is, you know, it'll run through a couple inches of water. Does a very good job at it. It's been used in that shallow water. Coming back into the floor of the boat a little bit farther, we're going to get back to our jump seats. We've got dry, in this boat, we've got dry storage here. He actually added a couple of cup holders, and then we have a center cooler. So some cool options. That center cooler is insulated, does have a drain plug, the whole works. You know, we'll come back. Our rear live well, this is a huge live well, guys. This is 50 inches long. It is a foot deep and a foot wide. So I mean, if you're catfishing in this boat, you pull the center divider out and you've got a ton of room, or you can hold a ton of fish. You can hold 3 different limits of fish in this boat with the rear divider, 2 spots, then the 1 spot in the front. I'll come back a little bit farther, and this is a 5-foot rear deck as well as a 5-foot front deck. We've got our rear compartment lid right here. You know, what we've got there is going to be our 30-gallon built-in aluminum fuel tank. It does have a remote fill on this rear corner gusset, so you shouldn't really ever have to open up that rear deck lid to put any gas in or any kind of maintenance like that. Now with that being said, we also add all of our batteries in the back, you know, whether they be trolling batteries, cranking battery, you want to add an onboard charging system, pumps for power poles. You know, there's plenty of room in the back to do so, especially in this size of boat. You know, like I said, it's got a lot of room in it. You know, I do want to talk a little bit about the structure of this boat, which is built very, very similar to all of our 1860s, 1856s, all of our bass boat models. This has actually got even more support. So we start talking our 2070, we've got our 30+ inch welded corner gusset that we actually went a little bit farther on the transom with, so we've got a lot of surface area there to handle the weight of that engine bouncing up and down on the back of the boat, going up and down a county road or up and down the interstate. A lot of different options there for what could happen, you know. So it's nice to have the extra structure. Then we come back to our knee braces. Now with these knee braces, they aren't just slapped on the back of the boat, you know, looking pretty. What they're doing, they are a full welded knee brace. They come around the back of the transom, fully welded, no empty spots, no weld left untouched. You know, it's a full one piece. Now that goes down to the floor of the boat, and what it connects with are the longitudinal runners underneath the subfloor. So what we have there is, instead of just all traditional horizontal cross members, we do longitudinal runners as well as the horizontals. What that's going to do is it's going to prevent any kind of cavitation marks. Over time, water will hit the bottom of that boat, and it'll push the aluminum up in between those cross members and cause what I would look, you know, kind of washboard underneath. What that does is creates cavitation coming down, going into the jet pump, start sucking air, you're losing performance. It's not performing like it did whenever it was new. A lot stronger, so if you do hit a log or hit a rock or hit anything, you know, it's a lot stouter. So, I mean, that kind of comes into why we put a lifetime warranty on these bass boats. We simply just don't have any issues out of them. You know, it doesn't bother us to put a lifetime warranty on them because we don't have any problems out of them. But if you ever were to have any kind of issue, if this weld's to crack, if that weld's to crack, if something were ever to break, you know, we'll definitely get it repaired for you and make it right. You know, on the back of the boat here, we do have trim tabs. We've got splash plates where the plug is underneath the boat. Right here, we do have the aerator screen for the live well. You know, guys, this boat is sitting on a tandem axle, 17-inch wheels. This is gonna be, you know, one of the biggest, baddest jet boats that money can buy. There's a reason that people call these things legends, guys. And if you have any questions on this boat or any of our other models, just give us a call, 573-885-6300.